Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Rahmiantia Sarah. I am from class A. The text, The Age of Immigration. European immigration to the United States has been continuous since 67, but the most significant period of such immigration occurred between 1820 and 1920. During this time, a total of 32 million immigrants arrived in the country in successive waves. For the first 70 years, almost all come from northwestern Europe, especially 70 years almost from Britain, Ireland, Scandinavia, and Germany. Then, as the flow of immigrants from these countries declined, large numbers of people began to make the journey across the Atlantic from Italy, Hungary, Poland, Russia, Greece, and other countries of Southern and Eastern Europe. A number of factors lay behind people's decision to leave their European homes. Some people were escaping from political oppression in their homelands. Others, especially in Britain and Germany, had acquired technical skill that allowed them to seek jobs on the open market. For still others, threats to their physical survival were a factor. The start of the Great Period of Irish immigration, 1845 90, for example, is accepted with a disease that destroyed the potato crop and caused starvation throughout Ireland. The Jews of Eastern Europe saw moving to North America as a way to escape widespread prejudice and violence in which thousands of Jews were murdered. Although each immigrant had his or her reason for leaving home, one factor, economic hardship, was behind most of the discussion to risk an uncertain future in America. 90-country Europa was a continent in economic transition. The old agricultural system that depended on large numbers of unskilled workers was disintegrating and leaving many of the workers unemployed. All the workers found themselves replaced by steam-driven machines. The population was increasing and crowding into the towns and cities that interrelation was creating. This transition created unemployment and poverty for masses of people, condition that led many to consider starting a new life in a new country. Immigrants brought with them a wide diversity of language, cultural, and educational background. However, whether Irish or Italian, educated or illiterate, skilled or unskilled, industrial worker or teacher, farm worker or lawyer, most immigrants have two qualities in common. First, because the great majority were between 15 and 35 years old. Most had the energy of youth. Second, they were willing to make sacrifices for the future in a country they consider the land of opportunity. And considerable sacrifices were demanded from them. They left home with little more than a suitcase to carry their possession in the United States. Both men and women worked long hours for low wage. The majority lived in unhealthy conditions in the overcrowded immigrant neighborhoods of the larger cities of the Northeast. Great Lakes and Midwestern states, they suffer with despair discrimination as each wave of new immigrants meet many of the same prejudice and fears the earlier immigrants had experienced. Some of the less fortunate are fit during the Civil War, were immediately persuaded to join the Union Army and were killed in the fighting. Few of the first generation managed to achieve the prosperity that was the dream of every immigrant. The result of the first generation sacrifices first became visible in the generation that followed. Within three generations, most non-English speaking immigrant families had acquired a new first language. The children and grandchildren of immigrants who spoke Swedish, German, Italian, and more than 20 other languages became native speakers of English. This process of language shift is one of the most significant features of immigrants' history in the United States. Although the process did not guarantee this generation will become wealthy and successful, it was essential for economic advancement of and for full interaction into the mainstream of society. This shift to English was accompanied by another change that took place in second generation immigrant families, while first generation immigrants still tended to learn of Thamesville or Irish, English, Italian, or German. Their children and grandchildren clearly considered themselves American, a story that was told by an English immigrant symbolizes a process that must have taken place in most immigrant house, households. One day, the immigrant son came back home from school where his class had been learning about the American Revolution. He explained to his English-born father what had happened in wars similar to this. You had the king's army, and we had only a bunch of farmers, but we beat you anyway. Out of the diversity of more than 30 countries and almost as many languages, a generation apart that felt itself to be truly American. Thank you.